What the hell? Damn, POV, you isolated medieval war. Damn. Hello everybody, welcome, I'm Ziggy, this is TheSigiBot, and you're watching Vtuber Reacts to. And today, it's gonna be a little bit different. Recently, I got into my medieval arc, so should we say. I got into knights, I got into medieval tower defense and video games. And then one day I was streaming Mod How, and a lovely viewer said, "Hey Ziggy, do you know medieval MMA exists?" And at that moment I was like, what? So today I sat down on YouTube and typed in medieval MMA, and this is the first video that popped up, the insane world of medieval MMA. We're gonna be reacting to it as usual. Original link down in the description box below. If you have any fun stuff for me to react to, leave a comment as well. Without further ado, let's check out what this whole deal is with medieval MMA. Apparently that's a thing, so I'm super hyped about it because knights are awesome. Damn.
For thousands of years, humans have been testing their strength and prowess.
It's the Gladiator, good movie actually.
From the first gladiatorial games to deadly jousting, even now, fighting overweight men in front of millions is incredibly popular.
Wait, is it Boogie?
Despite
What?
the big resurgence of things like boxing, MMA, and combat sports in general, one has crept out the woodwork like no other. Something new, yet hundreds of years old at the same time. Welcome to the insane world of medieval.
Okay. Damn! What the hell? Damn, POV, you isolated medieval war. Damn. Beat him up. Oh, lol. It's awesome.
Between the 12th and 16th centuries, it became
history time. Let's go.
A great game for knights or other soldiers to show their strength without the same sort of dangers
it's
that you would see on the
Zweihander.
battlefield. Sure, you can get yourself bruised in
Let's
battle,
go,
but
baby,
the
let's
likelihood of
go.
fighting in the arena at least mean you get to go home at night. In the meantime, being able to show off your new armor that you paid a pretty penny for, and especially your skill, winning over fame, money, and of course the potential of future renown was a tempting thing back in the day. I mean, who's going to get the highest wages as mercenaries, guards, or even showmen? Well, of course, the best fighters, and they reveal themselves in front of the crowds. Despite the notion that these games were fights to the death, it wasn't particularly common and really could be seen as the equivalent to a modern-day MMA fight. Scuffed up, sure. Embarrassed, yeah, definitely. But dead? No, probably not. Unless that is your name's Henry II of France, who, during an ill-advised jousting tournament in 1559, the lance of his younger opponent pierced
this dude was crazy, man. If you listen to history, those dudes were crazy back then. They had power and they were like stupid.
Of such tournaments started to
happen.
Damn. Okay, they weren't necessarily that directly linked, but the point stands. Okay, so how do we go from French kings in the 16th century getting splinters in their head to funny hat-wearing Americans slapping axes on their buddy's skull? Well, have you ever heard of LARPing? Okay,
no.
It might be an unpopular opinion,
it's this game, right?
And probably my audience, but it's not my thing.
It's that game.
Running around the forest with foam weapons. Sort of like chivalry meets capture the flag. I could think of better things to do on a Sunday, if I'm going to be honest.
That's
but
cool,
it was in
actually.
Ukraine that they thought, hey, this LARPing stuff... This is for weak people. The soft touch of foam was a little bit too boring for their taste, and they wanted to do something a bit more
Slavic, of course, it's the Slavic people.
Plate armor, equipping real, granted blunt, but still real weapons, they started battering each other on the good old noggin. This
oh my god.
Forms, from huge field battles of hundreds of men at the same time with teams, to smaller tag team based events, to even then progressing into the octagon. The game started to grow, and in 2009 the first Battle of the Nations was held in Ukraine.
Damn!
Battle of Nations, I hear you ask.
Rough, that hurts.
Let's take a look.
What the hell is that? Wonderful. Oh my god! Damn. Let's go. Bum, bum, boom, doink. Flying knee. Bro, they cannot see shit in this. Oh my god. Oh look, they're smooching. Oh my god, the armor's done. Battle of Nations. I need to check that out.
The Battle of the Nations was no small event.
Ouch.
This was huge. They hired out a full castle in Ukraine. They were not skimping on this thing. National teams of different countries came to compete here with, of course, set rules. Each team had at least 8 up to a maximum of 50 fighters.
What the hell?
Of any of the historical battle clubs, which, yes, are a huge thing that do exist. You see, when all of this started,
crazy. Look at this. What the hell? Oh my gosh.
HMB clubs or historical medieval battle clubs started to come from it, most of the time in Europe and of course the UK as well. And Battle of the Nations, whilst being the largest, is not the only one. These leagues have gone on all across the world, even in the US, where they have some absolutely humongous wars. These are events that are held every year, where they split up the country into 3 different sections as trying to replicate a medieval Europe. Then thousands of people fight, and of course, in their different teams, the winner wins. It's simple as that.
Okay.
And it was this that I saw that really changed my idea of what this LARPing could be. Because it doesn't have a great name, and me, as I mentioned, I'm not the huge fan.
Oh yeah, like you okay?
Red 2, Red 3. Blow 2, killing blow 3.
But I think anybody with a screwed on head can tell that there is a difference between running around with foam swords and full-out medieval battles.
Both is fine.
Okay, I still
both
think
is
it
fine.
Towards a similar audience. I'm not gonna beat around the bush there. Going back to the Battle of Nations, they only had 4 countries taking part, being Ukraine, Poland, Belarus, and Russia. Probably countries you wouldn't be surprised being there. And they had all these different game modes. There were hundreds of people that came to watch, and also hundreds of people that took part from all these different countries. You had your 1v1
tired they are. Oh my gosh.
2 knights would get into the battlefield and it would be scored on different hits, so on and so forth. Now, I've heard different rules in different events and different leagues. Some of them being 3 points of contact on the floor, some of them being a little bit more like boxing, depending on where you hit, whether it's the head, the shoulders, knees and toes, indicates how many points you score.
Knees and toes, knees and toes.
You have the 5v5, a little bit more like your group fighting event, where you do have some partners, but it's still a smaller scale where a lot of the time you'll end up in 1v1s. Here it's so important to be the team that gets that first kill. And then you have your 25 versus 25.
I wonder how it works because they have armor, right?
Chaos. And in all honesty, it didn't end there. In later years, it got even bigger.
What? How do I know how they win? I don't get it though. Because you have... Is it maybe exhaustion?
They went from the original group in Eastern Europe to over 20 teams and 400 fighters, with even people from the US and Canada coming in to compete. I mean, what's medieval Europe without a few Americans? As the sport started to grow, so did the organizations. There were splinter groups that came off with, of course, defunct people that weren't liking the way Battle of Nations was being held. And like every other sport, the Russians were accused of cheating. You had these homegrown athletes that came out of nowhere that didn't have a place in mainstream sports that would then grow some sort of fame within the medieval community. Sergei Yulov was a huge Russian man that liked to beat people up all the time. He was very strong and he killed many people. He didn't kill anybody, but he kept winning and he started to gain fame. Then Alexei Petrik in Prague in 2016 took his crown and, well, since then he has been #1 in the male category 1v1 fighting.
Wait, there's also female category? What?
Okay, this is great. We've got some cool events here, but what if we wanted to go even more competitive?
Okay.
What is more competitive than 50 people in a small arena battering the hell out of each other?
What? No way, M1. They got M1. Oh, nice. Oh, crazy. Look at them. Kill him, slice him up. Oh my gosh. Punch him. Nice. Get the shield. What do you say about my mama? He dead. Yes, he's unconscious. Holy
Okay, well, I
jeez.
don't actually know how serious it was for the fighters. I'm assuming somewhat, but this actually started as kind of a joke. In the middle of a Russian MMA broadcast at the halftime show, they wanted to put on these two medieval lads beating each other up. It then gained 15 million views online. So there was definitely an audience for this.
Yeah, of
The rules were
course.
somewhat different. Instead of points of contact and, of course, getting points for certain hits
It's
in the body,
exhaustion,
this
right?
was about knocking your opponent out, using whatever way you can to get them to the ground and getting them to tap out, a lot like regular MMA.
Yeah.
Until the referee calls it off, it is fair game. You can take their legs out. You can, of course, hit them with your sword. You can bash them with your shield. You can get them on the floor and repeatedly pound their head into the canvas
What the
until it
hell?
starts bleeding. Or until the referee decides that enough is enough. The funniest thing about this stuff is people still don't know how to handle it because it is quite funny, okay? These are full-grown men in full suits of armor, but they are taking it so seriously, and rightly so. This is a dangerous sport.
Yeah,
People do
of course.
get injured, not just in this medieval MMA fights, but even in the Battle of Nations. The, I guess this might be sacrilege, but the more casual versions, broken bones, bashed in heads, unconscious. People were taken off by stretchers. These are real weapons, and whilst they have been blunted, they are still going to be incredibly
it's
painful,
metal.
being smacked down
Metal
on you
wood.
from behind. And, well, the commentators of these medieval MMA events clearly still don't quite understand what they're seeing. So it makes you wonder what kind of people does this
Crazy,
attract?
man.
And actually, the more I think about it, this isn't surprising at all. You might think the main audience for medieval MMA or Battle of Nations style event is complete computer nerds, right?
No,
However,
no, of
I don't
course not.
think so, because the way that
everyone.
people have evolved is completely different to the way technology has. And whilst warfare has completely changed,
Ouch.
us humans have
So
not.
this is what
There
I
is
don't
still
get. So
something
they push
quite
him against
enticing
the
about heading into
border,
the
right?
ring
And then
with
they
full
punch
plate
on
of suit
him.
armor
How did
to
they
show
get
off your
points? It's
sword
points,
skills,
right?
to practice some
Probably
cool moves
clean
and to
hits.
batter someone's head in. Now, I don't necessarily speak for everyone here, but I think the inherent need to show off your strength in combat sports hasn't changed since even the medieval period. So it's not that surprising that this has become so
Yeah, I think in this
successful.
one
Don't
it's
get me wrong, you
clean
can look at
hits, and
LARPing
if you
and
can
think that this is somewhat
exhaust them
entertaining and
or
funny
let them
to
fall
laugh
down.
at. But when someone's dressed up in incredibly heavy plate armor, sweating through their visor that they can hardly see out of, and getting whacked on the head by metal poles, and it's somewhat impressive, especially in the high-end professional versions of the sport, to see the athleticism
That's
that comes out of
crazy.
it. These guys are proper athletes, putting in the training, putting in the work, and whilst it might not be a mainstream thing yet, you can see the same elements that we
Look,
have in
there's
combat
even
sports, such as
dance in
boxing
the
and
helmets and
MMA.
so
Most
it's
of these
real
people get
stuff.
into it through reenactment groups.
Crazy.
You might have heard of HEMA or historical European martial arts, which is another more controlled form of this. You have professional referees that know exactly what they're doing and how to keep people safe. You have groups that have formed over years of people training and come together to share a passion and finally wanting to compete, to show off what they've learned against other countries and other teams. And of course, the cash prizes that most certainly come with it. This is a really interesting rabbit hole to delve into.
Yeah.
And I think more
I
stuff
will
like this
check
should
it
be
out.
encouraged. More
That's
unique
funny.
niche sports
That
and
looks
something like
insanely
medieval
good.
MMA that draws you in from the sheer spectacle and questioning what the hell is going on, but then keeps you there with the real athleticism, skill, and brutality of this combat sport. There is nothing quite like it. It is a sport that is ever growing, but is held back by one factor. And it's not necessarily the fact that it draws in a niche community of historical nerds.
I mean, if you
more
ever
because it is
was sitting
incredibly
in a
expensive to
helmet
get
with a
into. This
boxing
is
glove
not
or
cheap
something,
armor. You have to spend
it's pain,
thousands on this sort of
no matter.
stuff, especially if you want to actually get it molded and tailored to you and your body for it to be any sort of
Do
comfortable.
they have katana?
But most people are spending
Katana
upwards
and
of
a great sword.
$10,000
Looks
to
like
get into this. Then, of course, you actually have to get to the events in your armor. And I think this accessibility is something
Yo,
that's
it was
drawing the sport back
katana,
from becoming just another
samurai,
mainstream
and
combat
an
sport.
European
it's not
knight,
so
I
far
guess.
off stuff that we already have.
One-on-one,
Because it is so inaccessible
of
to the majority of its audience, well, hardly any people can get
Chat-teki,
involved.
I
But
guess.
maybe that is something that will change. Who knows? Maybe Amazon will start mass manufacturing medieval sets of armor, and
Amazon,
at that point,
of course.
anybody
Amazon,
can get
of
involved.
course.
Anybody can don their plate, their chainmail or gambeson, and smash some heads in with a halberd. But hey, for now, I'm just gonna have to watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. You know what? That was great. Anyways, guys, if you want me to watch some other fun medieval stuff, medieval fighting stuff, let me know. Without further ado, as always, links down in the description box below. You want me to react something, leave a comment, and I will see you on the next one. Have a good one. Bye bye. Ciao.